Hello, CannaSphere fan. Welcome to another episode. What are we on now? We're on episode 15.
I don't know. Is it 15 or 16? I lose count when I'm high. No, I'm not high. I'm not high. Yeah, 16. Episode 16, everybody.
16, we're building them up. Bring you the latest information around South Africa on the cannabis industry, the exciting, ever-changing, dynamic, complicated, sometimes pain in the ass, but beautiful space. So for all your news and updates, we've got a lot coming up today. The Eastern Cape puts out tenders for cannabis incubation hub at the Siki.
It's interesting. I can't wait to hear more about that. And obviously, the ANC and DA won't reveal their cannabis policies before the 1st of November elections, which is happening on Monday. Are you voting?
Of course I'm voting. Of course, democracy.
Dacha party, I hope.
Don't complain if you don't vote. SAPRA says BEE is not a factor in issuing cannabis licenses.
Okay, that's interesting to hear. I can't wait to hear more about that. And then Luxembourg legalizes adult use cannabis consumption. So it looks like they might have taken a play from our book.
Moving.
Very much, very much. And then Sister Noxy from Johannesburg is going to be talking about the matrix of how to get high.
No, she's not.
Isn't she?
No.
Oh.
She's talking about the difference between getting high and getting stoned.
Oh,
Is
sorry.
there a difference between getting high and getting stoned?
I don't know. I'm the worst guy to ask.
All will be revealed by Noxy just now. But right now, let's cross over to the news desk for Brett Hilton-Barber in Limpopo Province. Over to you, Brett.
Good day from the CannaSphere news desk in the foothills of Limpopo, where it's misty and chilly today. We've picked up that the main players developing a new South African cannabis economy are the provinces, particularly Eastern Cape, Gauteng, and Northwest. Well, the Eastern Cape is taking the lead. The province's Rural Development Agency has put out to tender the development of a cannabis incubation hub at Lusikisiki. What's a cannabis incubation hub, you may ask? Well, it'll be a facility that will have the capacity to grow and export medicinal cannabis. It'll be a research hub for local land races and a training institution and a place where cannabis can be tested. All sounds good, but in effect, this is something that the IDC should be funding in partnership with the private sector. But more importantly, from the CannaSphere perspective, it's about building alliances between the province's Agriculture Department, the Development Agency, and SAPRA, the Health Regulatory Authority that was last week turned into a political football. While we were on air in CannaSphere last week, the Black Farmers Association of South Africa was marching on SAPRA's Pretoria headquarters, demanding that all existing licenses be scrapped because they were not BEE compliant. The association's president, Dr. Lennox Mashagi, told Newsroom Africa that there was no BEE compliance in the awarding of licenses.
What we want as the Black Farmers Association and the other stakeholders is that we want SAPRA to revoke all licenses that they've given to white companies without following the correct procedure of the Black economic empowerment.
But SAPRA's CEO, Dr. Boitumelo Semeti Makokotlela, stood her ground in the Newsroom Africa debate, which you can find on the CannabisAfrica.com website. She told Dr. Machagi that he was barking up the wrong tree, that SAPRA's mandate did not allow for BEE considerations in the awarding of licenses, but she said the health department was addressing the racial disparities in the issuing of licenses.
If we do anything that pertains to our BE, we will be going against the Medicines Act because it is silent on that. And that's why we had to get legal opinion. That's why there's a process to follow. So we're not saying it's a matter we're not addressing. We're fully aware of what the matter is, where the gaps are, what gaps need to be addressed, and how we need to address those gaps. So it's an ongoing process.
She also said that SAPRA was the wrong entity to be expected to fund the development of cannabis farmers.
You cannot expect the regulator to be involved in matters of saying, how do you set up a structure? We are merely a regulator. There are other players in government that they should be talking to. We've said this to them numerous times, and their feedback is, oh, those people are not responding. You're the only one who responds, so we will come to you. We cannot operate outside of our mandate. Our mandate says regulate. It doesn't say fund structures.
That's SAPRA's CEO, Dr. Boitumelo Semeti Makokotlela. Still with politics, Cannabiz Africa put out a survey to political parties contesting the November 1 elections to find out where they stand on cannabis. That was over a month ago. To date, we've had only one reply from the Al Jamaa AH party. Interestingly, the main political parties, that's the ANC and DA, have said they'll get back to us only after the elections. Clearly, cannabis is too hot a political potatoes. Party strategists are probably advising their leaders not to raise any issues that could divide their potential electoral target market. Obviously, the Dacha party's stance is clear. Interestingly, our chat last week with them, they're looking to get votes by championing the cause of the homeless in central Cape Town rather than on a legalization ticket. The EFF is also unambiguous. It believes in complete legalization, as well as other clear deliverables like champagne for the masses. And in international news, if it's good Lux, it must be Luxembourg. It's becoming the first European country to legalize growing and consuming cannabis. Adults in Luxembourg will be permitted to grow up to 4 cannabis plants in their homes and gardens. There we go again, that 4-plant restriction. But it'll make the country the first country in Europe to legalize the production and consumption of the drug. The announcement last week by Luxembourg's government was a clear signal that prohibition has failed and that a new approach is needed to deal with adult use cannabis. Under the new law, people aged 18 and over will be able to legally grow up to 4 plants per household. Trade in seeds will be permitted without any limits on THC levels. And the government says it'll be possible to buy seeds in shops, import them, or buy them online. Justice Minister Sam Tanson described the change to the law on domestic production and consumption as a first step. And I'm quoting her here directly because she puts it so beautifully. She says, "We thought we had to act. We have an issue with drugs, and cannabis is the drug that is most used and is a large part of the illegal market. We want to start by allowing people to grow it at home. The idea is that a consumer is not in an illegal situation if he or she consumes cannabis, and that we don't support the whole illegal chain from production to transportation to selling, where there's a lot of misery attached. We want to do everything we can to get more and more away from the illegal black market." Words of wisdom we should be hearing here in South Africa. And what do you say, Trenton? Back to you.
Yeah, I think again it comes down to the same thing. You know, there are other countries internationally that are streets ahead of us, and we should learn from that. You know, we need our own models for South Africa, but you know, if other people have put time into researching what might work in their territory, it would be retarded not to take some of that knowledge and apply it here. I mean, I don't think it's a one size fits all. I think every single country has a unique environment, and that's how it needs to be treated. I mean, South Africa is particularly unique because of its history. But yeah, it's exciting to see other countries coming online.
Yeah.
Tell us about the 4-plant restriction. I'm really interested to hear, why is it always 4 plants?
I know. I mean, we're sitting here at the thick mist in Limpopo, where the farmers here are going to be complaining about powdery mildew. And, you know, if you've got 4 plants, you might be losing one over the next week or so. But, you know, back to the Luxembourg thing, what I found most interesting about that is that their reform is being driven by their Justice Department. They're looking at it to try and decriminalize the consumption of cannabis. And the comments about we want to try and take the consumption of cannabis out of the criminal value chain, the transporting of it, the selling it, because there's so much misery attached to that. And if only our government, our Justice Department could listen to her, or, you know, have a Zoom with them and just to learn a few lessons, because it just sounds so sort of irrational compared to the prohibitionist people we have in charge of the Justice Department here.
Yeah, I mean, any person in leadership that thinks the war on drugs has worked should find another job. We all know it hasn't worked. You know, I believe that all drugs should be legalized personally, under certain, you know, conditions, and you know, it should be managed. And there are countries that have done that, and it's and the stats speak for themselves. You know, but to try and get a country or that has been, you know, most countries have always demonized all kinds of drug use. So it's complicated, but you know, as things move forward and as times change, hopefully we will evolve as a species globally. You know,
Trenton, you're not alone in those thoughts that all drugs should be legalized. You've got a supporter in that very conservative magazine, The Economist. That's one of the oldest magazines in the world, and they look at things purely from an economic and commercial point of view. And they say the continued prohibition of all drugs is funding the development of narco states around the world, and is assisting in fueling criminal syndicates. And they
Absolutely.
firmly believe that drugs should be a health issue and not a part of the criminal justice system, and that policies should be adapted accordingly. So even very conservative policymakers or commentators are seeing the logic in complete decriminalization.
Yeah,
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. And without further ado, let's cross to Johannesburg to speak to Noxy, who's going to tell us about the difference between getting high and stoned, or something like that.
Apparently, there's a disparity. So
All right.
let's go learn. Let's go
Find
learn.
out. Over to you, Noxy.
Good afternoon and welcome to the CannaSphere Lifestyle Desk, broadcasting live from a very gloomy and cold Johannesburg today, hence the boring background. I am the Kush Queen, bringing you all things local and international lifestyle, art, and entertainment in the CannaSphere. I never actually thought that we would ever see the day when we would freely converse about cannabis as a recreational drug, as opposed to going on and on about the medicinal benefits, when most times when we reach out for acceptance, we completely ignore how freaking awesome it is to just sit back, relax, and just get high or stoned. Which brings us to today's topic. We've all heard the terms high, stoned, baked, amongst others. And if you're a cannabis consumer, then at some point you've used any of all of these to describe the psychotropic effects of cannabis. Apparently, there is a distinct difference and different levels attached to these terms, and we're going to explore all of these today. So, level 1, being buzzed. So this feeling of being buzzed is it's the entry level, the tingle or sensation in your body and mind that lets you know that, hey, you just took something and it's starting to kick in. You might experience this after your first couple of pulls on your joint or your vape, or an hour or two after you've had your edible. This is also the feeling that microdoses get, but obviously with microdoses, there's no climb. Microdoses just stay in level 1, just buzzed. Then we have level 2, which is being high. So you've officially exited the buzzed stage and have entered the uplifting mood stage of your recreational cannabis experience. This is where people either feel really chatty or very giggly. If you've consumed some high quality cannabis, a high can last for around 4 hours, but that also depends on the method of your consumption. Obviously, an edible would be quite long, usually around 6 hours if you've taken something very potent. The high usually comes in 2 kinds. There's a physical high or a cerebral high. Physical high is more about your body sensations, while a cerebral high is more mentally stimulated. So it's like in your head, or what they call a head high. Then we have level 3, which is being stoned. And that can be described as a heavy and tired sensation. When you're stoned, you might experience the feeling of everything around you being extremely slow. While feeling relaxed, you might also feel quite hungry. Then we have level 4, being baked. This is the ultimate, the peak, guys. When you are baked, you are higher than being high or stoned. At this stage, it's quite a task to function normally and carry on with your day-to-day tasks. You're most likely to feel like you're dozing off or falling asleep. And this is what most cannabis scholars call a couch lock. That's it, guys. Those are the differences. Now you can comfortably use these phrases and attach them to the right feeling. Which level do you prefer being on when you consume your cannabis? Do drop us comments and let us know. I'm interested to hear, Linda, where do you like being? What level?
Level.
I'm a level. I think for me, the head high is usually the one that I'd enjoy the most, because it's basically the space where I start figuring out things and fixing things. Because I got 2 children, it's always important to know that I'm at least engaging with them at a proper stage, So
Right.
I think that's the one for me. And if I got a bit of a back pain, then of course the body high.
Of
One thing I have to
course.
disagree with there, that the munchies only kicks in at what it's stoned level. For me, it's like from buzz onwards. I just want to chow.
Just want to hear everything. Brett?
Interesting.
Well,
Hey, Brad,
here in Limpopo, there's space for everybody. So we sort of we go sort of quite carefully through each of the phases and sort of consider each of the delicacies along the way. So it's a total experience. Depends on what experience you're looking for at whatever particular time. But I'm fortunate in that I live in the foothills outside Dunedin. I don't have children with me. I'm not a menace to society other than on the show. And
baked,
it's nice to be able to experience all of the above.
Yeah, you said before that everyone up there is just baked.
Yeah, 24/7.
Yeah, it's I think there are a few sort of sub themes about sort of people who can work slowly but diligently, but kind of their minds are elsewhere. But everything takes a lot longer to get done in Limpopo than anywhere else in Africa, I think.
Slow and steady.
Slow and steady. Sometimes slow and steady.
I've got a gift for Linda. So we went to this 7-story building in Cape Town yesterday, which is actually a hemp hotel which they're building. So it has the most amount of hemp used in a building of that size that we believe in the world. So I got you a little present, which the guys saw last week. I got you a brick. This brick is made from hemp and lime. Totally natural, totally sustainable, breathable. I give it back. It's yours. Take it home.
How heavy is it?
Make it lekker. So you can.
How heavy is it, Linda? How heavy is it? How heavy is it?
Pick it up and see.
It's really heavy. Like it's like a cinder block, but like not as heavy as a cinder.
Up, down.
Yeah, I can do that. I can already feel the carbon emissions going to negative right now. I'm gonna get green points right now. I can't wait. Put it in my car.
Carbon neutral. Oh, you just smashed the desk, bro.
With the hemp brick.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, guys.
So that was very exciting. It's a very exciting project. And this guy actually said to us that he's a hemp architect. He actually built Tony Button's first house in Noordhoek. And he said that there's just so much interest in the hemp architectural space and building with hemp. It's so sustainable. So it's really exciting to go and see it.
And then I think also the fact that it's in Cape Town and it's in a very beautiful sort of street that's developing. So definitely it's something to add for the tourists to come and check out. And as first being the first in the world, that's also it's a great thing, also being in Africa. So I think it's important to also communicate that it's not just about getting high and also getting medicinal, sort of repair, but there's also construction and industry that can be built around cannabis.
Wait, guys, so it's like a hotel, like there's rooms where you can like sleep.
Yeah, you can sleep there.
Hotel,
do other things.
Showers,
toilets. 7 floors up.
Yeah, it should be done. What did you say? He said next year,
middle of next year.
March or something. Yeah. So
oh my God, I can't wait to go see it.
Yeah.
I think we might go there and do a live stream. I'm gonna push for it.
We need to.
Yeah.
What's the name of the place, guys?
I have no idea.
Okay. Right, got you.
Yeah. That's the name. Right, guys. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure. Thank you for joining us on CannaSphere Africa. We're here every Tuesday, updating you on the things happening. Also catch us on YouTube and Facebook and share it out to the world so that we can push this thing forward and make it bigger for everybody.
100%. 1st of November, where you all gonna be? Outside on the corner. No.
Voting.
Yeah.
Don't have an opinion if you don't go and vote. It's important. Exercise your democratic right. Till next week. We are out. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Come, man. Cool.
Yeah.